Okay, so called sorry. Call this what is it, June 25th? Right?
Yep.
7:30 a.m. Meeting to order to discuss the charter plan. And then do you have it on the
And I can share my screen. I think I can
you
let me
sent us
see.
the stuff.
Yeah, and prior I had shared the charter plan draft, but let me put it at the top of your emails real quick. Give me 1 second to what am I doing? I'm not sharing my screen, am I? Yeah, good.
You
Okay.
have the charter contract draft.
Yeah, I made two other documents, but the original, somebody's on there. Let's
I'm
see. Adam's on there. And then let me just reshare this to the board. And so it'll be at the top of your emails right now. And then I can share my screen as well. Uh let me I'm just gonna close. I'm working on one project that shouldn't be shared. Let's see. Just making sure I have all confidential stuff closed real quick. Two. Yeah, okay, let me share my screen. Where's that? Two. Okay. So this one that I just reshared has been blasted out lots of directions. Parent Square, Facebook, and then uh full staff meeting just mentioned like, hey, this is this is the document. Oh, and I emailed it to full staff and then met with them and said we would love feedback, or if you see anything that doesn't make sense, tell us. And it was uh in all of those share outs, it was included with opportunity for short feedback, recommendations, questions, and who are you? And we got zero responses to that. So my read on that is people who looked at it were like, looks good, or didn't know exactly what it needed to look like, kind of thing. Um, but we did send it out in multiple ways and mention it multiple times. So, that's not what I want. So that's this one and I believe this was the draft at the last board meeting uh that existed at that point. So I think maybe one small change in there. I can't remember what it was, but then I was talking with Brittany from Triangle Lake yesterday morning, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you asked for a charter plan, and I just found that in uh, my draft emails, and I figured you didn't need it." And I said, "Well, we have a board meeting tomorrow morning. Why don't you send me what you have?" And when she sent it over, it included, it didn't have a plan like this outlining, but it included a contract between Triangle Lake Charter School and uh, Blatchley School District. And then also it included bylaws for the nonprofit. And so I took this charter plan and those templates or those examples, used them kind of as a template, and then created uh, these two, a contract draft, which we may need. Uh, I don't know when this gets submitted to ODE. And Andrea, I don't know if you know this through Kristen. And then the other one that I sent you all this morning, oh, that's that one, is just a sample bylaws or a draft bylaws. Um, that kind of attempts to outline that, hey, we're the same people, but we have bylaws for the nonprofit as well. And I don't think we would need this until August, once the nonprofit is in existence. And then I think in August, when we do board, what do you call it? Like, board chair, vice chair, when we nominate and elect those, I think we would do this at the same time for the nonprofit. So that's a big overview. I don't know, maybe we start, the thing that I'm pretty positive has to get submitted to ODE, it's the only thing I could find on the website, is this charter plan draft. And so maybe we talk through that.
She wants the charter contract and the charter proposal.
Okay, so that's these two things. So charter, I think this is the charter proposal. I called it plan, but I think this is the charter proposal. And then the contract would be this one.
Okay.
Cool. Glad that worked out.
And those, she just wants that, she just said submit it once you have them done. And then when we approve this, so like our last board meeting approval.
Okay, the board minutes.
Yeah.
That show that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Andrea, do we need, we probably need to approve these as action items before sending them over? I don't know if you agree with that, but
I think we should.
okay.
I guess state them as as the board contract, or I mean the charter contract and charter proposal, if someone wants to move on that.
And let me change this word up here to proposal.
Yeah, so I can move to accept the single district charter proposal and contract.
I'll second. Mary will second.
Okay. And then I'll just say everybody's name. So all those in favor, Abby?
Aye.
Mizu?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
And Mary?
Aye.
And me as well.
Cool. I'm assuming Jaren, you got that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it have the language, that little bit of language that I sent
Ooh.
that the IRS wants?
Let me see.
Let me stop sharing my screen just for a second to search. Jaren, was that in the school merge request? I don't know if I'm seeing. Do you have that email? Easy to find. I'm not.
Yeah. Let me send it to you again right now.
Okay. I think it is
So it just needs to say that we're organized exclusively for educational purposes. And upon the dissolution of this organization, assets will be distributed for one or more exempt purposes within the meaning of Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code, or corresponding section of any future federal tax codes, or shall be distributed to the federal government or to a state or local government for a public purpose. So yeah, that's just a couple things they want in there.
Okay, let me. And would this be in the plan or sorry, in the proposal or the it feels like contract language to me, but maybe does it need to be in both?
I think it's for the organizing document, so I think in the contract would be good. I think have it in there.
Okay, I'm gonna reshare. Where is there's this statement here, but I'm just right under it. I'm gonna put what you sent. On page 1 with IRS
Yeah,
provisions.
right there. Yeah, in section 2. Yeah, so that. Yeah.
Does
works.
that capture it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that one's good. And then the other one, oops, I should have read it before I got rid of it. Dissolution. I don't know if it would.
I'd mean that as the nonprofit status.
Yeah.
I'd just keep it there. Just
In the
clear
same
out.
spot. I
Yeah.
think it might. Hold on, I think it might be included though. Oh, this is the bylaws though. Hold on. Hold on. What am I doing? So I wonder if
Scroll down. Go into that section 3. Mission. Yeah, maybe. I mean, that educational program is basically saying that
yeah, because that bylaws language definitely has it, but if we want it in here as well, I think we put it sole public system. Does that the grant of the charter pursuant to chapter 338? Let me sole public school system under the terms and conditions of this contract. Can we say terms and or it seems obvious. I don't. The other one was.
granted charter.
Wonder if we just pull this language directly from here. Where was the one about? I think it was up here. So there's this piece, Oregon law requires a single district charter school.
Yeah, I'd just put it under that first paragraph of the grant of charter, and yeah. Under,
right here.
Well,
Like this.
Yeah.
Actually, probably under the second paragraph, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the dissolution, I think that language is down here somewhere.
maybe section 13, renewal, revocation, and termination.
Perfect. Yeah, so if we, thanks. Does that,
Yep, that looks good.
there we go. Is that a different color? Sorry, this doesn't matter in the moment, but my brain it does. Okay, how now does that capture everything that we needed in there?
Yeah,
Okay,
from
I know
from what I know.
okay, and then I know we just voted to approve it. Does everybody still approve it after we
Yeah,
change
that's what I was gonna ask. Do we have to say anything?
maybe a re-yay just to make sure that it's obvious?
Was it just the contract?
Yeah,
Okay. So if anyone wants to move to reapprove the charter contract.
Yeah, I'll move to reapprove the charter contract.
Okay, and music in second. Does second.
Okay. And all those in favor, Mary,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
Mizu,
Aye.
and me as well.
cool. And then the only other thing I just want, I think I added it as another email after the first one about this meeting. Sharon and I were talking about our Hoots contract, and I just want to give an update and get any feedback on this. But we pay a good amount for Hoots. It's been a great kind of stopgap service when we haven't been able to land a therapist through Peace Health. And this year, Jaron and I were talking, and he said, a lot of that money goes to mileage. Could we hire our own therapist and use that money directly towards kids? And I said, well, we haven't been able to land anybody in the past, but since we're going to look at Medicaid billing, maybe it's the time to do it. And then options counseling at the same time. And I was kind of leaning towards, no, we're not going to find anybody, so let's just move forward. But at the same time, options closed their Florence office. And there's a number of folks from options who have reached out to us. And at least one of them specializes in youth 0 to 18. And so we talked about posting that position as a district position to see if we could fill, and essentially for the same price or close to as that we pay for Hoots, we may be able to get a full-time therapist just for our kids and community. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up on that, and kind of see if anybody has any concerns about going that path instead. And basically, if we couldn't hire somebody, we have Hoots in line still. And I did give Hoots an update that we're exploring this, so they're not left hanging. So anyway, if you have any questions or feedback on that, I'd love that, and just wanted to make it public that we're kind of exploring that option.
Where does Hoots where do they come from, the personnel?
Yeah, Eugene, it's Whitebird. Whitebird is the organization, and I think all of their folks are hired out of Eugene, but we pay mileage from Eugene.
So does Hoots only come for like crisis or?
No, so they call it a crisis clinic. Sorry, Camden's gonna walk behind me and you may see him. He's trying to hide. sorry, they run a 2-day a week clinic from 10 to 1, 10 to 2, something like that, every week, and it includes a QMH qualified mental health associate, and a EMT, and they call it crisis. In large schools, it's because they're seeing the kids in highest crisis during those times. We're small enough that they see some kids on a recurring basis, but they're not. The QMHAs work under the provision of a QMHP, and that gets into just mental health certifications. But what we would look for is to hire a QMHP or higher certification. So QMHP is qualified mental health practitioner, and then a licensed social worker, LSW something, LCSW, licensed clinical social worker, has all of the clinical supervision hours. And so that takes 3 years to move from a QMHP to LCSW.
So what exactly are they doing? Like I don't really understand what they're doing when they're there.
Hoots?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a weekly clinic, and then they see kids who are referred, and it can be a referral from a family, referral from staff, or referral from a peer, or referral from self. And they meet with kids, and it's
How are parents involved in that? Like, how are they?
in many cases parents make the referrals.
Mhm.
Students who are 14 and above can refer themselves, but it's all consent based. And they only see kids 14 and above unless parents have requested for younger kids. So we have maybe 2 6th graders in 3 years who have been seen, and that's all through families. Maybe 3, actually I'm thinking of 3 kids. And then middle schoolers have to have parent consent if the kids are under 14.
And if they're over 14, they don't?
Yeah, which is the same for all mental health access in Oregon.
Interesting. Okay.
So would having kind of like an in-house provider, would that mean they would have more time with giving services because they're
Yeah,
not paying out the mileage?
Adam, and to be on a more of a plan. So like a kid could get, weekly or biweekly or monthly counseling services, just like when we had Peace Health, which it's been 3 years, but when we had them on campus, that's what that looked like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move. He's gonna do dishes, which I'm not gonna complain about. Keep doing dishes. We're good. All right. Yeah, so this would open up just both the amount of time it would go from right to 4-hour clinics to a full-time person. And therefore, so what Hoots doesn't do is put you on a like mental health plan, right? And of regular therapy. What they've been pretty successful at, especially recently, is getting kids connected to therapists in the community, and or telehealth opportunities, and being that connective piece to turn over care, right? And get that started. In this case, that person would be qualified to be the care. And especially with options closing in Florence, that's one less set of providers for us to connect to. And there's a gap in the region. And so if we were able to have our own person, would be a huge opportunity, because that gap is so wide for our families that are trying to find options.
Do you think that waiting to see if you can do the Medicare stuff, how that's all going to work, or Medicaid, I don't know what it's called, but how that's all going to work before you hire someone, or I don't know.
Maybe. Jern might have thoughts on that. I mean, I
I think
yeah.
for this first year where we were already we have money set aside from a grant to pay Hoots. And so we can just shift that money. So for this first year, we can cover it with that. And then and in this first year, then we're hopefully figuring out the Medicaid and hopefully being able to start billing for that to be able to continue with them. But yeah, in the process, making sure that they know that, yeah, if we don't have continued funding, that,
Yeah.
we're hoping to maintain the position, but if we don't have the funding, then no,
So if if the Medicaid thing didn't work out, then we wouldn't have funding for it, right?
Yeah, or if we couldn't secure another grant, those kind of things.
Okay.
And we can put that explicitly in the job description, and say this is grant funded, grant based, and dependent on continued grant or Medicaid billing. I think that's a really good point to make sure we include that in there.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like with that market, funding will be there somewhere,
Well, I hope so. Yeah, and right now, I mean, it's one of those spots where local therapists are trying to stay local, and so they're going to be excited about an option, about an opening, and if that opening goes away, that's what they just faced anyway. And so, like, I think as long as we're really straightforward in the hiring process to say, hey, it could go away for us too, but we're giving it a try. I think it's not like people are going to leave a job to come to us. They actually just lost a job and are trying to come to us.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it'd be a good opportunity to figure out the Medicaid billing with a year left over on the grant funds and to
Yeah.
see if that's going to work out. It seems like enough time to get that set.
Any other thoughts or questions on that?
Not really, but I mean, I have a thought or question, just that I the fit matters really well. Like, if it matters for the community, for kids who get to see this person. I love having, potentially expanded options. I mean, I know families, it's a struggle to get to find somebody to see and get there and everything. So having that local and more of the time is really exciting. Just, do you have any idea, like, any feel for whether, like, the fit would be good, or like, as good as Hoots or better than Hoots, or, like, I don't know, like, I think probably the answer is no, because how could you know? But
Yeah, it's I I haven't met anybody personally. I've talked to a few on the phone, and this is going to come out wrong, but I call people to see if it's a good idea or not, and sometimes they screen themselves out in an initial phone call, and I'll say that has not happened. They've been very, very good phone calls, but I've never met these people in person. Kids haven't met them. But to know that there's some folks who specialize in 0 to 18 is exciting to me. So a lot of times you get people who are like, hey, I just got laid off. I love serving adults, but I'll serve kids if I have to. And that's not the story.
yeah, yeah, cool. Sorry, that's a hard question, because, like, but and I think you don't really know until you until
Try
you
it.
try. Yeah.
Yeah, but it brings up two thoughts for me. one, I think I said it, but if we go through the hiring process and we're like, actually, we know our kids aren't gonna, vibe with them, we don't have to hire. We have Hoots as a plan already, and so this gives us a chance to go through the process and see if there's somebody worth hiring, and still have a service if that doesn't work. And then the other thing is just including kids in that hiring process, and being on the interview, to kind of read that,
Mhm.
fit better. So that's something we can do in the hiring process.
Yeah, that's great. Seems like a
And do like the current um, personnel from Hoots, like have they referred students to the Florence options before, or do they know people
That's
in?
Adam, that's a good question. I actually don't know the answer to that. I was wondering that the other day. I know, yeah, I get names of a therapist. Sometimes I get a therapist who reaches out because there's an MOU to share information or something, but I've never tracked where they're coming from. And I don't know all of that, right? I only have contact if there's an MOU signed to share information back to us. So I don't actually know if they're using options as one of those. But I can call them and ask for sure. What I will say is it is likely that the folks from options are serving somebody from Mapleton, whether they're kids or adults. The options is definitely serving the Mapleton community. I can say that. Any other questions or thoughts on that?
Mary, you good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Cool. And I asked Jaren, the budget doesn't change on this, so we don't need to do an action item or anything on this. It's just, I just wanted to keep you all in the loop and get any feedback from you before going that path. So we'll put together a job description and look to post that in the next week, and try the process and see where it goes.
cool. I mean, it sounds like a very good opportunity, and if it goes well, it'll be a great opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. So cool. Well, that's, I think, all for today.
I think so. I guess we can have someone move to end the meeting, right?
All right. Yeah, thanks for making progress on this too. And I've also seen some of the the Mapleton Community School stuff go out on social media and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Oh yeah, it's been
Yeah.
all over the news.
Yeah, there were a couple stories, and then I don't know if you guys have seen, Jen's working on some branding, and been popping some stuff out. So you'll see kind of some more professional looking branding on our website and stuff. Or not website, on social media right now, and then we're gonna keep bringing that stuff back into other spots. So she's working hard on that right now. I saw a couple on Facebook last night that I was like, ooh, those look sharp. So hopefully you're liking those too.
It's funny, I was driving by True Value yesterday or day before, and one of our buses was sitting in the parking lot. I don't know what it was there
Mhm.
for, but I was like, yeah, just need to park it there, slap a banner on the side of it.
Say now enrolling.
Yep.
I mean, in all honesty, well, actually, that's probably the next thing we need to work. So if this is approved in doing that, our next conversation needs to be about transportation. So I'll meet with the team and kind of say what's possible, and then we can start putting that out. And I think when families know if and where transportation is, it's more likely that conversations get real. So yeah, keep spreading the word, and we'll work on transportation plan next, and then go from there.
Sounds good. All right, I'm going to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
I was like, nobody's gonna second.
No one's gonna second. Abby, did you?
Yeah, second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye. Abby.
Yeah, I think everybody does.
Okay.
I have another meeting I gotta jump on. Started at
All
8.
right.
All right, bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks everyone.
Yep.
Bye.